If you've parked in front of Kohl's or CVS, there's a great chance that your car will be towed. So if you have parked there, and I don't think anybody has because you all know better, thank you so much. I won't continue with that. So if you've noticed, we have many exits here. They're all properly signed. So if you look around, take notice of where all the exits are, only in case of emergency. Not to worry. You'll know where to go. I appreciate that. If you have a medical emergency, and we know with everybody not eating or trying to fast, that's a great possibility. We do have a medical room, and always in a Jewish facility, it's got to be at least one doctor in the house. So if you go to a room, it says medical room. It's just across from the social hall. We'll be able to treat anything that you need. If you feel lightheaded, your sugar may be down, maybe you got too high, just let us know. We'll attend to whatever needs to happen. Please turn off the ringers to your phones. God He's always listening. Okay, also another opportunity to let you know that we're updating all of our files, and we know a lot of you have moved, changed cell phone numbers, email addresses. I know this is getting redundant, but we want to be able to reach out to everybody. So please contact someone in the office. Give us any of the updated information that you have. We always are willing to know what's changed in your life. Name badges are another thing that's very important to all of us. We like to address you by name, not with, oh, I think I met you someplace. Please, please let us know if you need a name badge. Call anybody in the office. We'll have one done for you by the following Friday. Again, thank you for being here. And for those who are fasting, it should be an easy fast and a very meaningful day.
Good morning, everyone, and good Yantiv. We turn in our Machzor, in our prayer book, to page 172. From Egypt you redeemed us, Adonai our God, and from a world of slavery you saved us. In times of hunger you fed us, in times of plenty you nourished us. You turned our blight to blessing, spared us from suffering, and rescued us from the sword. Your mercy supports us, and your love abides, now as in the past. Never forsake us, Adonai our God, and never turn away.
יושב על כיסא רם ונישאו, שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב בנו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נאווה תהילה.
Eternally present, your name is hallowed on high. And the psalmist sang, Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous. Let the upright adorn you with praise. We rise for the Baruch Hu, 178. In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day of the Spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words. I forgive. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Holy One of Might, your towering strength reaches from heaven's heights to the human heart. Holy One of Mercy, your forgiveness is profound. It embraces all who turn to you. Holy One of Torah, the secrets you impart are radiant. They reach your people, your cherished ones. Blessed is God's glorious majesty.
Holy One of the heart, you forgive us in our weakness. You pardon us in our fear. Holy One of strength, we praise your powers, the wonders of your creation and redemption. Holy One of remembrance, you remember us with love, taking delight when we search our souls. Blessed is God's glorious majesty.
Together, Holy One of the Spirit,
you accept our fast of repentance and breathe into us purity and goodness. Holy One of conscience, you remove our wrongs and reveal the way of righteousness. Holy One of existence, your light is the glory of creation. Your mercy endures forever.
Blessed is God's glorious majesty. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto. In this circle of community, in this hour of striving for faith, I believe in your majesty, your guiding presence within me. To you I turn on this day of the Spirit, seeking atonement, longing to hear your words. I forgive. In love you bring light to the earth and its creatures. Your goodness renews the creation each day. Infinite, varied, and rich are your works, divine artist, all of them wrought with wisdom. The whole earth is teeming with life. Awestruck by the universe, work of your hands, let all life bless you, praise you, and celebrate the beauty of your lights.
Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot.
183 together. You love us by helping us grow. You give us Torah, a ladder for the soul, words that draw us upward every mitzvah an invitation to climb, forge and kiln and crucible, to purify our hearts. You give us Torah. You love us by helping us grow. We turn the page. You are the one who unites all things, who links life to life in a sacred change. Together, the forests anchored in the soil breathe air into our lungs. Our faces are reflected in the creatures of earth. We carry the sea within us. Together,
our fate is connected to rivers and deserts, our family a many-branched tree of life.
All beings intertwine in you, all are encompassed in Adonai Echad.
Thus no man is an island, no soul exists apart.
To say Echad is to know this truth, to see the world whole, humankind undivided.
Precious and holy are these words we speak. Adonai Echad, we proclaim you one.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Our praise to you, Adonai. You have singled out your people Israel with love. Let us rise.
And we call forward our Shir Heart group to lead us in Haftorah.
Listen, Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated.
Shatam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotofot beinecha, utatam on mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru va'asiten et kol mitzvotai, v'yetem kedoshim Elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeitietem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet.
(192). We read together. True and steadfast is this teaching, beloved and treasured, a source of wonder, a fount of goodness, a thing of beauty and ours for all time. And true it is, the eternal God is our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. Through all generations, God's name lives on. God's throne stands firm. God's dominion prevails. God's grandeur and faithfulness endures through eternity. God's words are precious. They will live forever. 195, we read responsively. And they shall know that I, Adonai, am their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, that I might abide among them. I, Adonai, am their God.
You took us out of the darkness so that your light might dwell among us.
You showed us your power to bring down the powerful, uplift the enslaved, transform the social order.
You showed us your strength so that we might remember our own.
We carry the Exodus vision wherever we go, lest we forget our sense of liberation, lest we lose the joy of breathing free, lest we grow indifferent and blind to others' pain.
So long as we work to make you present, we walk the path of freedom. But if we forget to bring you into the world, then we return to the darkness.
Page 200.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imot U'Mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava
continue on 208. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Norava Yom. Unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear. For all things are judged, and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year and the season of truth comes the day of remembrance for all we forget and all we deny. And we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year. In a way you don't know, take hold of your life. Make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the day of dread. Our sovereign God of pardon and forgiveness, let these words of sanctity ascend to you. And so a great shofar will cry, Tekiah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a world of fear and trembling will say, Behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes even they are not blameless. Together, all who come into the world pass before you, like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff. You count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments.
Berosh Hashanah ikatevun, uvyom Tzom Kippur yechatemun,
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. How many shall pass on? How many shall come to be? Who shall live and who shall die? Who shall see ripe age and who shall not? Who shall perish by fire and who by water? Who by sword and who by beast? Who by hunger and who by thirst? Who shall perish by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who shall be secure and who shall be driven? Who shall be tranquil and who shall be troubled? Who shall be poor and who shall be rich? Who shall be humbled and who shall be exalted? But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah temper judgment's severe decree. We turn to page 218. Let us rise.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, קדוש, קדוש,
Eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Zion, hallelujah. We will teach your greatness, Lador Vador, from generation to generation and to the end of time. We shall affirm your holiness. Our God, your praise shall ever be on our lips, for your power is boundless, sovereign, and holy. Continue on page 226. Please be seated. Uvechen, and so, in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like a wisp of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation, upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, the eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Zion, hallelujah.
Kadosh ata v'nora shemecha, ve'ein elo mipalatecha, kakatuv, vayigba Adonai tzevaot mishpat, v'ha'el hakadosh nikdash b'tzedaka. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamelech, Hamelech, Hamelech HaKadosh.
You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, our holy sovereign. Amen. We continue praying silently at our own pace, page 230 through page 246.
page 246.
We continue on page 252 for the Avinu Malkeinu and then with the Torah service. For the honor of accompanying the Ark curtains, for Avinu Malkeinu, Adi and Bob Unger, Lisa and Mark Katz, Deborah and Mitch Cohen, Marla and Tom Letitia. For the honor of undressing the Torah, at that point in the service, when the Torah is actually taken out, come forward Norma and Jody Friedman and Andrea Harris, Andrew Molaski, his wife Arena. The congregation, please turn to page 252. And 80 Bob, Lisa Mark, Deborah Mitch, Marla and Tom come up at this time. Please rise. (252) Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu V'al Ol Aleinu V'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, Va'arav Me'aleinu. Kale Dever V'cherev V'ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu Kale Kol Tsar Mastin Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, male yadenu mi berchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu Harim Keren Shichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, na'al teshivenu rekam milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu Kabel Barachamim Uvratzon et Filatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Laman Chaim Lo Laman Nenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ele ata. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu Patach Sha'arei Shamayim L'Tfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu Chus V'Rachem Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu V'Anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu V'Aneinu, Ki Eimanu Masim. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Le'oshienu. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed, Le'oshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu V'Aneinu, Ki Eimanu Masim.
Page 254, we call our Torah honors. Norma, Jody, Andrea, Andrew, Arena, come forward at this time. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of purest solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say Amen. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nourish the soul. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, אל רחום וחנון, ארך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת. נוצר חסד לאלפים, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed ve'emet. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula, hagevura, hatiferet, lenetzach le'avod. Yichol bashamayim u'ba'aretz, Yichol bashamayim u'ba'aretz.
Torah portion for this morning is found on page 266. For those of you who come to my class on Shabbat morning, 8:45 a.m., little plug, you know that every word of Torah has a meaning. Every space has a meaning. And even the selection when it comes to the holy days has a meaning. So think about it. Every week, you know, we read from a different Torah portion. But the Chagim, the holidays, Hanukkah, and so forth, all are associated with their own specific Torah readings. For example, on Rosh Hashanah, we read from Bereshit, and we also, the story of creation, and we also read the story of the Akedah. So on 266, one of the choices that we have in this Machzor is to read from Deuteronomy. Atem nitzavim, you stand this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai your God. Those words taken from the Torah portion, they speak, choose me, choose me. Of all the words that they could have picked from the Torah, they could have picked Abraham, and who said, Hineni, here I am. But instead, the rabbis chose this portion. You stand this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai your God. And then it goes on to a list, your tribal heads, elders, officials, and so forth. That statement is very important for the high holidays. There are a number of prayers where we talk about I am sorry. But for the most part, if you paid attention to the prayers, it's in the first person plural. We stand before God. We are sorry. There is a notion that even as we come individually before God, when we come, especially at the high holidays, our mutual fate is tied one with the other. Every Jew responsible one for the other. The sins of every Jew responsible one for the other. And when we receive Torah, that was a collective revelation. So think back in time to Mount Sinai when revelation was given. According to tradition, it wasn't just those 600,000 plus Jews who were there at that time, but all the souls that would live, including those who would later embrace Judaism and become Jews by choice, were considered to be spiritually at Mount Sinai to receive the law. Now we skip ahead to the words on 267, verse 11. After going into, here you are, I'm reminding you, you stand before God, and if you mess up, there's curses, and if you do well, there's blessings. And it goes through these laws. It says, for this mitzvah, which I command you this day, is neither beyond you nor far away. It is not in heaven, causing you to say, who will go up to heaven on our behalf? Get it for us and let us hear it, that we may do it. It's not across the sea, causing you to say, who will cross the sea on our behalf? Get it for us and let us hear it, that we may do it. No, this is so very near to you. That statement is so important because so often we talk to people who say, you know, I don't even know where to start. It's too hard for me. This statement in the Torah anticipated that. Don't think that all the rules are just in heaven. They're very much here. Don't think that the knowledge is some secret knowledge. It's right here. Go, learn it, study, do what you can. When I teach, I often use the phrase, not yet. For there are a lot of people who say, well, do you keep kosher? And they'll say, no. Well, do you go to synagogue? Well, no. And we'll go down the list of the things they don't do. And I said, rather than say, I don't do this and I don't do that, because pretty much then you have a religion that reflects negativity in the things that you don't do, rather respond, not yet. Because it leaves for you that opportunity of personal self-growth. Are you the same Jew that you were in your childhood? Are you the same Jew that you were at your bar mitzvah when you first were married? Are you the same Jew today as you were last year? Hopefully the answer is no, that there is growth, there is change, there is the ability within you to take this Torah and its words and its commandments and let it speak to you, to your heart, as you are standing before the Lord your God today. Those of you who are here Erev Rosh Hashanah, I remind you we talked about this declaration, I am a Jew, ... in which I challenged everyone to reflect upon what ties them to the Jewish people. And when we think all is lost, what's going to happen, this next generation, they don't do this, they don't do that. Not yet. Not yet. We have to not only have hope, but we have to have faith. And so in 1927, when Edmund Flegg composed this poem, I Am a Jew, and he went and said, these are the reasons I am a Jew, he was really writing a letter to his unborn grandson, in which he said, I don't know what will happen when you read this and are grown in 1960. Perhaps all that you will care about is the motor car. Well, I'm thinking, I don't know what you will think about. Perhaps you'll only care about is your computer and iPhone. He was worried that technology would stray people from, a belief in religion. And yet here we are. And when he wrote that, we have the blessing of Israel. We have a large number of Jews who do embrace Judaism. And even as we worry, we realize that the responsibility to stand before the Lord your God, it comes not only at Yom Kippur, but every day of our life. So I challenge you. I am a Jew, ... Talk about it in your families. If you so choose, put it on the bulletin board that we have in the foyer. Look at everyone's answers. And let's have a dialogue as a community of what it means to stand before the Lord your God and say, I am a Jew. 266. We have the Aliyot for this morning. The first one will go to Sandy and Scott Stolberg. Our reader will be Olympia Lazar. If the Torah readers could make their way up to the bima, that would be great. It'll be Olympia, and then Deborah, Nan and Ira, Shauna, and then Deanne and Randy. Go ahead and make your way up and just have a seat.
אתם ניצבים כיום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם, שבטיכם, זקניכם ושוטריכם, כל איש ישראל, טפכם, נשיכם וגרך אשר בקרב מחניך, מהוטב עצך עד שואב מימיך.
Our second Aliyah, Alan and Barry Schulman.
Baruch Adonai Hamburach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Leil bracha bivrit Adonai Elohecha uchalato Asher Adonai Elohecha koreit imcha hayom lema'an hakim odcha Hayom lo leam vehu yelecha lelohim kasher diber lach vekasher nispa leavotecha leavraham leitzak uyakov.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our third Aliyah will be David Wasserman, our reader Nan, and Ira Spector.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Below etchem, lidvadchem, Anachi koreit et habrit azot ve'et ha'ala azot ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Our fourth Aliyah, Lynn and Gary Cantor, our reader is Shauna.
asher bacharbanu mikol ho'amid, netalanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. V'chaya ki yavo alecha kol hadvarim ha'ele habracha v'chaklala asher netaiti lefanecha v'chashevota el levavecha v'kol hagoyim asher hidi kacha Adonai Elohecha Shema v'shavta ad Adonai Elohecha v'shamata v'koleo kol asher danohi mitzavecha v'chayam ata uvenecha v'chol v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natalanu Torah emet v'chayim olam nata, b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Our fifth Aliyah goes to Lexi and Sam Lionel, Marla, and Tom Letitia. Our reader is Deanne Emmer and Randy McCosco. I believe Sam celebrated his 100th birthday this past April. So we wish him again a Mazal Tov. And not yet, those of you who haven't had an Aliyah yet, all right, there's time.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvera. Baruch Adonai Hamvera le'olam bayed. Baruch Adonai Hamvera le'olam bayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Amen. Veshav Adonai Elohecha et shuvutcha v'richamecha veshav v'kibitzcha mikol ha'amim asher hevitzcha Adonai Elohecha shama im yeh nedachacha bikatzei hashamayim v'sham Yikibetzcha Adonai Elohecha Umisham Yikachecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'kayein olam nata v'koheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen.
For Hagbah, we call upon Jeremy Hutchings. For redressing the Torah, Fran Fine, Julian Eric Fisher, and Mark Fine, if you would come forward. Congregation, please rise.
Asher sa Moshe, v'zot haTorah, v'zot haTorah. Asher sa Moshe, v'zot haTorah, lifnei bnei Yisrael, v'zot haTorah, al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe, v'zot haTorah. V'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe, v'zot haTorah, v'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe, v'zot haTorah.
Haftorah portion, the blessings on 275, 275, and the Haftorah reading is 277, 278. For the blessings before, we got Glory Rosenberger, Cheryl Chenin Webb, and Lori Frankel. And for the blessing after the Haftorah, we have Cantra Hutchings and the members of the Shabbaton who are present. Our readers are Shelley and George Wara, Sharna and Stuart Blumenfeld, Dina and Alan Mann, if you'd come forward. Shelley, George, Sharna, Stu, Dina, and Alan, come on.
Yisrael amo, uvinviei ha'emet b'tzedek.
Fast I desire. Cry from the depths, says God. Okay. Cry from the depths, says God. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like shofar. Tell my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily, as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not abandoned God's law. They ask of me the right way, eager for God's nearness. They say, why do we fast and you do not see it? We afflict ourselves and you do not know it. Because even on your fast day, you think only of desire, while oppressing all who work for you. Because your fasting is filled with strife and with callous, first you strike. Now your fasting this day will not lift up your voice before heaven. Is this the fast I desire?
Is this the fast I desire, a day to afflict body and soul, bowing your head like a reed, covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day worthy of the favor of Adonai? Is not this the fast I desire, to break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home and never to neglect your own flesh and blood?
Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn, and your wounds shall quickly heal. Your righteous one leading the way before you, the presence of Adonai guarding you from behind. Then when you call, Adonai will answer, and you will cry, will respond, I am here. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the suffering, then shall your light shine through the darkness, and your night become bright as noon. Adonai will guide you always, slake your thirst in parched places, give strength to your bones.
You shall be like a well-watered garden, an unfailing spring. From you they will rebuild ancient ruins, lay foundations for ages to come. And you shall be called the one who mends the breach and brings back the streets for dwelling. If you cease to trample Shabbat, stop pursuing your affairs on my holy day. If you call Shabbat a delight, the holy day of Adonai honored, and if you honor God by not doing business or speaking of everyday matters, then shall you take pure delight in Adonai. I will lift up your journey on earth to the highest of places, and nourish you from the heritage of your father Jacob. For thus spoke Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el hane'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shechol devarav emet v'tzedek. Pel Havodah, Pel Hanvim, Pel Yom HaKippurim Hazeh, Shenatot Lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha Tifaret, Achakol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu Motim Lav, Umarogim Motat, Yitbarach Shimcha Befikochai, Tamid Le'olam Va'ed, Utzvachar Emet V'chayam La'ad, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Malchei Avoteinu, Le'melodot Yisrael, V'mvarim Avoteinu Bechol Shana V'Shana, Melech HaKol Ha'aretz, Mekadesh Yisrael, Melech HaKol Ha'aretz, Mekadesh Yisrael, Ve'yom HaKippurim. Amen.
Accompanying our curtains as we return the Torah, page 290, Terry and Gary Rosenberg, Christine and Rob Laurent. Page 290, let us all rise.
Eitz Chaim hi l'machazikim ba, v'tomcheha me'ushar, deracheha darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom, hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, Chadish, Chadish Yameinu, Chadish Yameinu kekedem.
Page 292. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. Shema Kolenu, Adonai, hear our call. For you are close to the brokenhearted, and you give strength to a suffering soul.
You are the healer of shattered hearts. You are the one who binds up their wounds.
For thus says the high and exalted one who lives forever, whose name is holy.
I dwell in the high and holy place, but also with the downcast and lowly.
To bring new life to despondent souls, to restore and revive repentant hearts.
Return now, Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin.
Take words with you and return to God. Ask the Eternal, forgive what is wrong, accept what is good.
We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. We set before you the wrongs we have done.
We trust in your compassion, for you know who we are. Shema Kolenu, Adonai, hear our call. Page 295. Even rocks crack, I tell you, and not on account of age. For years they lie on their backs in the cold and in the heat. So many years. It almost creates the impression of calm. They don't move so the cracks can hide, a kind of pride. Years pass over them as they wait. Whoever is going to shatter them hasn't come yet. And so the moss flourishes, the seaweed is cast about, the sea bursts out and slides back, and it seems the rocks are perfectly still, till a little seal comes to rub against them, comes and goes, and suddenly the stone has an open wound. I told you, when rocks crack, it happens by surprise, not to mention people.
Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. We continue reading pages 300 to 306 quietly at our own pace.
שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
307 are the words of the Vidui that we read together. We confess our sins against the earth. We commit ourselves to saving it. We have assaulted our planet in countless ways. We have blamed others for the spiraling, deepening crisis. We have consumed thoughtlessly and irresponsibly. We have driven myriad species to the point of extinction. We have exhausted irreplaceable resources. We have failed to transcend borders and act unselfishly. We have given in to our many appetites and our gluttony. We have harmed beyond repair the habitats of living beings. We have ignored the signs of change in our climate and our seasons. We have jeopardized the well-being of future generations. We have known the problem but left problem-solving to others. We have lost sight of our role as God's partners in creation. We have mocked cynically those who love creatures great and small. We have neglected the environment, most of all in places of poverty. We have overpolluted our cities and overfished our oceans. We have polluted seashore and sky, fertile soil and freshwater springs. We have questioned and doubted solid evidence of danger. We have ravaged the old-growth forests, ecosystems created over centuries. We have spewed poison into the bloodstream of our land, its rivers, lakes, and estuaries. We have transformed dazzling beauty into industrial ugliness. We have used shared resources for personal gain and corporate profit.
We have violated the commandment, do not destroy.
We have wasted precious treasures, our God-given gifts. We have exploited the weakest and most vulnerable in our midst, and yet we yearn to be better guardians
of this earth and the fullness thereof. Let us be zealous now to care for this unique corner of the cosmos, this planet, our sacred home.
Continue reading silently 308 to 310. On Erev Rosh Hashanah, I talked about the notion that we cannot be physically safe unless we are spiritually safe. On Rosh Hashanah morning, I talked about how our future cannot be secure if we don't secure our future with the next generation. Abraham and Isaac's relationship and how it might mirror our own. And last night I talked about the stages in life and how, as we age, Judaism gives us a way to inform our lives. It's not just about safety, it's about living a life of values and how those values shape our lives, our destiny, and our very view of life itself. And so tonight this morning, we continue that theme, but in a different direction. I'm going to talk a little bit about perhaps how the sausage is made, so they say. Some of the challenges to me as a rabbi as we face what I call the great existential threats to our people. It was November 1st, 2018. I was standing on the bima at Temple Beth Shalom, watching the fruits of much labor in bringing together our community for a vigil following the October 27th shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. What was to become known as the deadliest attack on the Jewish community in the United States, leaving 11 people murdered and 7 injured. As president of the Board of Rabbis, I had the responsibility to join with ADL, Jewish Nevada, IAC, and my colleagues, all the synagogues in the community, to create a community response to this despicable act of evil. Over 1,600 people gathered to find comfort, express anger, and to bring support to one another during this time of unease. The cynic in me would ask, why does it always take a tragedy to bring us together as a community? But higher angels prevailed, and I was touched deeply with the optimism of a community united as one, singing and praying together. From my vantage point on the bima, I was able to witness something else quite remarkable, and for me, what would become an iconic moment. In the front were seated dignitaries of many faiths, a lot of my friends who I've worked with for over 30 years. It was heartwarming to see my friends, Buddhist, Christian, Sikh, Muslim. It was great to feel their love and support. But what was truly iconic was watching the head of the Israeli-American Committee standing next to an imam singing the final song, Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. An Israeli, a Muslim. Am Yisrael Chai. Wow. Was that an awkward moment? Or was it fate? What was even more ironic and profound was that the shooter, Robert Bowers, justified his actions because he blamed the Jews for the so-called sin of bringing Muslims to America. Prior to the shooting, he wrote on social media, "Open your eyes, it's the filthy, evil Jews bringing the filthy, evil Muslims into the country." That's what he wrote. Bowers hated the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, HIAS, a Jewish organization founded in the late 1800s to help resettle Jews fleeing the pogroms of Russia and Eastern Europe. And today it continues its mission by rescuing Jews and non-Jews who are fleeing persecution. He wrote, "HIAS likes to bring invaders in that kill our people. I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw the optics, I'm going in." Tree of Life Synagogue had been one of over 270 synagogues around the country that hosted National Refugee Shabbat the prior Sabbath. That Sabbath, American rabbis spoke on the most recurrent theme in the Bible: do not oppress a stranger, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Perhaps the fact that an Israeli and Muslim were standing together in a show of unity was more than awkward or ironic. It was fate. It has been shown many times hate knows no color or religion, and there are moments when all of us have to stand as one, for we are stronger together. And yet it is not always easy to stand together with people of such diverse religious beliefs and political ideologies. The stark truth is that all religions are not alike, that there are many differences in beliefs and teachings. There are deeply held core beliefs on such issues as abortion, homosexuality, immigration, and the politics of the Middle East that do divide us. However, to be involved in the work of the interfaith community means that we look not at what divides us, but at what brings us together. I can remember over the years how important this journey has been to making our overall community stronger. Simple things such as hosting the interfaith forums or the interfaith Thanksgiving service that I started years ago brings together people of so many different traditions for celebratory moments and opportunities to learn about who we are, what our differences are, in an educational setting. We learn from and about each other in calm times, which allows us to be there for each other in darker moments. I recall one very important moment in solidarity when our Muslim brothers and sisters found their mortuary burned down. It had just been completed, and there was a fire. Arson, perhaps. A mishap, perhaps. All that I know was that suspicions were all over the place about what happened, and the Muslim community, held a vigil. And it was so important to them that I came and I spoke. That was more important to them than all the leaders from their community that a Jewish rabbi, as if there's any other kind, came there and spoke from the heart. And when I did that, they were so, so appreciative. And that's the power of interfaith. When I stood there and I said, what happened here, the burning down of this mortuary, cannot take place. We don't know, but if it was an act of hate, we must declare in solidarity, not in our town, not in our town, not in any town. It was not an awkward moment for me to stand there. It was powerful, and perhaps it was fate. I can remember after the events of 9/11, when I knew that it was possible that Americans would turn against Muslims, that we needed to stand in solidarity with those who also decried these evil acts. I put together a vigil with one of my dear friends, Dr. Osama Heikel. And later on, I recall going on the John Ralston show with Imam Mujahid Ramadan, in which I declared that Islam had been hijacked. And Mujahid said, I was wrong. And then a year later, and every year since, he says, you know what, Rabbi, you were right. My religion was hijacked. What happened was deplorable, despicable, and not a reflection of my Muslim beliefs. It was hijacked. We have some deep soul searching to do as a religious faith. There have been other occasions when my involvement has not been so clear-cut. In particular, when it comes to Kufi, Christians United for Israel. For years, I refused to go to their annual event in support of Israel. To be honest, I could not embrace the values of Pastor Hagee, the founder of Kufi. His views on so many things were antithetical to my own. How could I attend? I approached one of my colleagues, who I respect. I said, how can you go? I just can't go. and he gave me his rationale. He said, Sandy, you sit on an interfaith council with humanists and Wiccans and Christians and Buddhists and Muslims and so many other faiths. Surely you do not agree with them on a lot of things, right? And I said, yeah, you're right. Well, so how is this different? You're not supporting Hagee's agenda. You are supporting one issue, his unwavering support for Israel. And it's as simple as that. In America, there are about 5 million Jews. Can we use the support of 40 million evangelical Christians when it comes to Israel? And does it matter to me what their rationale is? If this support is because they think it will bring about the second coming of the Messiah, I say, let's just support Israel. And sometime in the future, we'll find out who's right. For me, I love Israel, and she needs all the friends she can get. Being involved in interfaith does force one to choose when to cross the line and when not to. Two organizations in particular cross the line in my mind: Black Lives Matter and the Women's March. In a perfect world, their issues align with my own. Who isn't in support of civil rights for blacks? Who isn't concerned about police brutality and economic disparity and a whole host of issues impacting the black community? Likewise, when it comes to the Women's March, who isn't concerned about how women are treated, pay disparity, sexual harassment, lack of representation in so many industries? These are my issues. And yet both organizations decided to wade into the BDS movement and align themselves with those who are anti-Semitic. Black Lives Matter has embraced a profoundly anti-Israel manifesto accusing Israel of apartheid and genocide. And both organizations have refused to disavow the anti-Semitism of Louis Farrakhan. The Women's March finally removed 3 of its founding and most prominent board members, Linda Sarsour, Tamika Mallory, and Bob Land. The trouble was that they then invited Zahra Bilbul, who serves as the executive director of CARE in the Bay Area, onto the board. And eventually, under protest, Bilbul was also removed. We talk about anti-Semitism on the right, and we should. The chant of neo-Nazis in Charlottesville and Jews shall not replace us still brings chills. But we must also be concerned about anti-Semitism on the left. Actually, I would prefer to utter my criticism in a more nuanced way. We should be concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, period. Wherever it is, we should condemn it. We should not allow the hate of anti-Semitism to raise its ugly head, not in my town, not in our town, not in any town. But even this has led to some troubling results, the so-called weaponization of anti-Semitism. It is far too easy to target political opponents with the charge of anti-Semitism for political gain. And it is far too easy for proponents of hatred to deny the charges as political witch hunts and stunts. We do not do either Israel or the lessons of the Holocaust any good when we misuse their symbolism with false metaphors and attempts to brand opponents with labels that may or may not add up. Not every act of evil is comparable to the evil of the Nazis. Not only do such inaccurate comparisons distort the lessons of the Holocaust, but they create an outrage fatigue whereby everyone tunes out. And not every criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. Just ask the millions of Israelis who are beating each other up in the last election. There are some real concerns that I have, legitimate concerns about how leaders talk about Israel, how anti-Semitic tropes about the influence of the Jewish lobby and Jewish money and Jewish loyalty are brought into the arena. These accusations may give some political leaders short-term gain, but they bring our community long-term pain. These accusations have haunted us throughout history and have led to nothing but tragedy for our people. The Holocaust has incredible lessons to teach us, but not every despicable act is the same as the Nazis. It's easy to get folks riled up, but the cost is to obscure, confuse, and diminish the actual lessons of the Holocaust. An essay by the editors of Jewish Week expressed this thought more eloquently than I when they wrote, "Anti-Semitism is at once a unique cultural phenomenon and part of a much broader social disorder. It is unique in its persistence over the centuries, in its universality. The virus erupts in diverse societies under diverse conditions, and in its virulence. But it is also intricately connected to a host of other forms of bigotry. An environment that nurtures racism and xenophobia inevitably feeds anti-Semitism as well. A nervous American Jewish community with memories of the Holocaust still part of our emotional DNA, and the shock of the Pittsburgh murders, fresh in our mind, rightly demands that the charge of anti-Semitism carry special weight. But that special weight diminishes every time accusations become part of the bitter partisan mud fights that increasingly define our democratic system. You know, I had a confirmation class a few years ago. We were talking about the Holocaust, and one of the kids disagreed with me that there was even a Holocaust. Rabbi, how do you know it wasn't just fake news? No one could possibly kill that many people. It's not believable. And anyway, the Jews, they would have fought back, or they should have fought back. Well, there's a lot to unpack in that statement, isn't there? But that in itself is a whole nother sermon. But here's my point. When we lose faith in the press, when we lose confidence in our institutions, and synagogues being one of them, and in our leaders, and in each other, because we view people in categories, there won't be a table big enough or small enough that will allow us to sit together. And that is not a world in which I want to live. No, I'm involved in interfaith work, not because I agree with everyone at the table, but I am involved because there are values and ideals that are both bigger than one religion and also upheld by more than one religion that can and do bring us together. And the moments that this happen, those are the moments that I strive for, that I seek to create and embrace. Moments that I have lived for my entire adult life. So when I recall that moment a year ago when we all filled the sanctuary at Temple Beth Shalom, did I feel a sense of solidarity that there were 1,600 fellow Jews? You betcha. But did I feel a sense of strength knowing that the interfaith community was there side by side? You betcha. I don't think it was coincidence or fate. I think it was God's voice speaking all at once through each one of us. A chorus of faith that for a moment rose above the din of fear and distrust. I live for such moments. Yes, I do. And in a world in which too often hate and love are in competition, one with the other, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. Gemar Chatima Tova. May we all be inscribed in the book of life for a good year of sweetness and love.
Adonai
was beautiful. I'm pleased to introduce members of our board of directors who are Bema guests this morning. Jolie Breslin, Alyssa Nave Worth, and Alan Schulman, our trustees, and our Vice President of Social Action, Cindy Jensen. Thank you for your service to our temple. Rabbi Axelrod and Cantor Hutchins, thank you for such a gorgeous service, for those beautiful melodies and such inspirational message. To our accompanists and choir director, Ricky Reinhardt, and the adult choir, thank you for sharing your musical talents and making our service truly special. You've really outdone yourselves this year, and we appreciate it. To our sound techs, Alex Hill and Trevor Ensign, thank you for all your help with our sound, and Paul Shannon for assisting with our video streaming this morning. CNT has the best staff and volunteers, and as usual, they have put in so much work to our high holidays. Thank you all for all the hard work you put in, the tireless time that it put to this services together. And also, please take the time to read a thank you poster out in the main lobby. There's plenty of things to do for the rest of the day around, so we wanted to give you a little information on our schedule. During the early afternoon break, you're invited to learn about some congregational engagement opportunities that'll take part immediately after the service concludes in the Bake Tefillah. We'll be talking about Family Promise, Nevadans for the Common Good, and our Friendly Visitor Program. At 1:10, you can enjoy the Blessed is the Match in the Beit Tefillah, and we will also be unveiling the newly installed plaques in our King David Memorial Garden at 2:30. The healing service is at 3 o'clock, followed by our afternoon service at 4, and Yizkor starts at 5:30, followed by Neela and Havdalah. And of course, the next month is full of opportunities to be with your CNT family, so make sure to block the family calendars when you get home later today. Tuesday, October 15th, Hebrew School will be at the usual time, followed by 6 p.m. We'll have the Erev Sukkot potluck dinner in the Sukkot. So please RSVP via the link available on Facebook or the e-blast and sign up for your favorite dish. Tuesday, October 22nd at 6 p.m., we'll have a Simchat Torah service and program with our favorite band, the Shabbatones. I hope you all come celebrate with us. We also have some upcoming fundraisers that we'd like to announce. On Sunday, January 26th, the Justice Michael Cherry Tikkun Olam Luncheon honoring Jan Jones, and then our May 2nd, our Spring Gala. When services conclude today, please exit through the side doors, which will take you through the King David Memorial Garden. This area has been newly refurbished thanks to the generosity of King David Memorial Chapel and Cemetery. We are so appreciative for many years of friendship and support, and we thank King David so very much. We're also proud to have King David's General Manager, Jay Poster, as well as their Family Service Director, Cheryl Shen Webb, as part of our community. May you have an easy and meaningful fast. Good Yontif.
All right, so we have a final song, and following the final song, don't forget, go right to the Beit Tefillah for volunteer opportunities. Don't go across the street to Chicken Shack. I'm going to be watching you, all right? You go there, you're busted. Right there, Beit Tefillah for volunteer opportunities. And the movie, Blessed is the Match, is about Hannah Senish. So it's a remarkable story of courage and bravery. 2:30, Memorial Garden, 3 o'clock, right here for the healing service. Let's all rise for Hayom Ta'amsenu, the final song. 318.